Lowe's quoted us for $1,600 for our small kitchen countertop. So the goal here is to create our own using a sheet of 4x8 MDF. I completely forgot what key goes in here. All right, so the first measurement, I'm gonna measure from the back wall. I think I want to match with this piece right here. 59 1/4. We got our measurements here. Time to get some MDF. We'll chop it up. I think it'll work. I guess we'll see. So we got the MDF in here, and now it's time to mark it up. We'll just skip to that part. That's our angle for the counter, and it's time to cut it. We made all the cuts with the circular saw and then just finished up with the jigsaw. All right, let's bring it inside. Say hi to the TikTok live too. What's up, guys? Definitely should have opened the door before. Should have cleaned the sawdust off before I walked in here. Wow, she tests it out.
So
the counter is in. There's more of an overhang here than there is here. Yeah, you can really see it on camera right here. Other than that though, the counter looks really nice. Here it goes. Now I gotta cut this line. Okay, let's just clean this up a little bit. So since this is only 3/4 of an inch MDF and the countertop needs to be 2 inches. So instead of cutting out another piece that looks exactly like this and stacking them on top of each other, we're gonna fake it a little bit and just trim out the edges. That'll keep the countertop lighter and save on materials. All the edge trim pieces are now on and they look really good. So this is what just the shim blocks in the back look like. And those are on a 1/4 inch piece of wood. That looks really good. So this is what the face looks like right now. And those should all sand right out. We can give it a nice little bevel in the top here. Look at that though. So I'm just gonna take some wood filler and fill in the small imperfections like this spot and this spot. Day 2, I let the glue set and now I'm gonna find our position for the sink. Also, don't judge my mustard yellow shirt. All right, where did I just, oh, here it is. So I just Googled it and it says on average, your sink should be 1.5 inches from the front edge. If your counter is deeper than 24 inches, you can have it set back farther, but no more than 4 inches. Now we're gonna drill that hole right there. I think our edges are all gunked up. And there you go, a kitchen sink. Different day, different shirt, same counter. We're now ready to start sanding. Now I'm gonna go down to a 220 grit to clean everything up. It's a little bit foggy in here now. Very dusty. Next step, time to shellac. I put on a few coats and the first coat soaked in so fast, by the time that I got over here, this side was already dry. So I did that again. So I put on like 3 or 4 before it actually started to stop just like soaking into the wood. So now we actually have a good base layer. So there's about 6 coats of shellac on here now, and then I sanded it with 120 grit, and now we're ready for some paint. And now we watch paint dry. It's exciting. Now it all comes down to this. Time for the epoxy layer. If this fails, then we've ruined everything.
well, not everything. Just the countertop.
True.
Look at it. They don't fit very tiny. I got tiny hands.
Big one for part A, small one for part B. We measured 2 batches of 8 ounces for this. We measured them separately in 2 different containers and then mixed those containers together, stirred it, poured it back into the other container, stirred it again, and then we were ready to go. I would have filmed a bit closer up process of this, but I was more worried about just absolutely ruining our countertop, so I was focused on that. But overall, it was a pretty easy process. All you had to do is make sure you put an even coat over everything, but it was pretty good at self-leveling. The one thing I do recommend is make sure that where you put your countertop, that those grounds are actually level. Otherwise, it'll pool on one side and you definitely don't want that. And here we're using a heat gun. You could also use like a propane torch, and this gets rid of any of those air bubbles. I would definitely recommend to have something like this on hand because it helps a lot. And honestly, the heat gun seems to work really well because it blows some of the epoxy. Where I wasn't able to get an easy spread using the putty knife, I was able to actually just use the heat gun and blow it, and it worked pretty well. We let the counter cure for 3 days. That's why this video is like 2 days late, but it looks super good. Honestly, better than I thought it would. I'm definitely happy with it, and I'll keep you guys updated on how it holds up through actual use of it. For anyone watching this video who would also want to attempt this process, the few tips that I would give out to you guys, but the first one would be make sure you sand those face edges. Just make sure that seam is spotless. That'll save you a lot of headache in the future. Tip number 2 would just be in the actual epoxy part of this. The epoxy might be kind of intimidating to use, but it's really not. It's super simple. Just read the instructions. There's a lot of important things that you need to know. But the one thing I do really recommend is to make sure that your workspace is spotless, and clean it many times, vacuum it, make sure that there's no dust. Because there's a few spots in our countertop where we did do that, but somehow we still ended up with a few specks of dust in it. So it's not a big deal, but if I could redo it, I'd probably do a better job at making sure that there's no dust. But other than that, I think it's perfect for what we wanted, and it looks super nice. Comment below if you have any more questions on this process, or if you think we should have done something better. Keep the chat going. For anyone else that's watching this video that wants to learn more, head to the comments. There might be some useful information. Alright guys, we'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching this episode of the SunChaser Schoolie.